Welcome, foolish mortals, to Halloween Treats, presented by the Look Back Machine. For the entire month of October, we bring you 31 episodes on 31 flicks. So sit back and relax on your broomstick. We have blood-curdling boogeyman and sadistic serial killers. From castles to were-rabbits to spine-chilling spine-tinglers. Oh, but that's not all. It's only a bit. There's also Dahmer, Dracula, and Wallace and Gromit. So turn down the lights and turn up the sound. And ready your heart, for it's about to pound. Because there's Halloween film history abound. Happy Halloween from the Look Back Machine.
Mary Shelley penned Frankenstein in 1817, when she was only 19 years old. Almost 100 years later, it would be brought to the screen for the first time by Thomas Edison Studios in 1910. Frankenstein and cinema have been tied together since the very beginning of the medium, and since then Wikipedia lists 88 films that have showcased the monster. There are of course the classics, James Whale's Frankenstein, James Whale's Bride of Frankenstein, and Kenneth Branagh's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. But today we look at a Halloween film made in Canada, about a boy who creates life, Frankenstein and Me, in 1996. Interestingly enough, its main attraction was in the midst of his own resurrection. Burt Reynolds was once the king of Hollywood. From 1978 to 1982, he was the top-grossing star, a feat only matched by Bing Crosby in the 40s. The late 80s were not so kind to Reynolds, and by the time he hit the 90s, he had fallen out of favor. But the 90s were also part of his revival. He was in the popular television show Evening Shade up until 1994. But by 1996, he filed for bankruptcy. However, in 1996, he got out of his creative bankruptcy with critically acclaimed performances in Striptease and Citizen Ruth. His third film that year was Frankenstein and Me. Director Robert Tennell.
Growing up in West Virginia, I had just fate, luck, whatever, put me in the path of George Romero, and I got to I was a PA on Creepshow for like 6 months. So that was a really, really great start, and I was young. I actually took a semester off of college to do it. And from there I went to film school in LA, and I got there right about the time the music video explosion happened. And so there was suddenly quite a bit of work, and, I was able to gain a lot of practical experience, get to do a lot of really cool things really quickly. I never really thought about doing anything else. You immerse yourself in this imagery, and I was certainly, I was a big fan of like Tomb of Dracula comics, and obviously all the horror movies and the Monster Times and Famous Monsters of Filmland. And I was doing my own horror film fanzine. I was very, it had just kind of permeated all of me. But I was kind of bumming around down in the Yucatan for a week or two, just hanging out. And when we left, we were flying out of Cancun, and just as it was taking off, I suddenly had this image in my mind of the monster, the Frankenstein monster in the desert. I don't know why. It just popped clear. I could see it. He was like lit by lightning, but he was in the desert. And by the time I had to change planes in Guadalajara, I remember, by the time I got to Guadalajara, I kind of knew what the story was going to be. I got to explore some stuff that really interested me, and I got to sort of, create a fairly vivid snapshot of monster kid culture. And I thought that was a cool thing.
Ta-da! Famous monsters of filmland.
This is great, Dad. Dracula.
I went out to Hollywood once. Tried to make it in showbiz. It was a long, long time ago. Long time ago. Now, think about it. Well, I had a lot of courage, I was going to paint my dreams right across the silver screen.
Did you meet anybody famous or work on any movies?
gave up too soon. You know, you got a dream. You got to stick with it. You got to go for it. You can't back off. So make me a promise. You have a dream, you go for it with everything you got, right?
Promise, Dad.
But Bert, boy, I wish I could tell you I remember how that came about. I just remember, I think I was location scouting or something in the Mojave, because we shot part of it in Quebec and part of it in California. And I went to his house, and they'd set it up, and I went to his house, and we got on really well. He had family ties to West Virginia. We just sort of kind of evolved out somewhat the same culture. So he was very enthusiastic, and he really hit it hard. We had talked long and hard about it, and he was, and Bert can be difficult. We had a couple of go rounds, but I stood firm, and he respected that, and he was always so kind and affectionate with me, and for years afterward, but yeah, he was really plugged in. He was extremely conscious of the iconic nature of the story and how that kind of related, particularly the sequence, where the kids built the Hollywood sign, and that was the one Bert really wanted to do, and he has tears in his eyes, and I mean, they're real. I remember we did have this moment once. We had kind of a bad moment on set one day, and he just, I don't even like to say anything bad about it. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad yet. Things happen. It's an emotional environment, and things got heated for a few minutes, and then later he apologized. He said, "I'm really sorry. This is going on." We were just talking, and he looked at me. He goes, "You tried being the biggest movie star in the world, and then not." And it just, and he looked at me, it was such a real moment, and he was very much aware of how the ground had shifted beneath his feet, and it made me love him. It's just whether you like Bert or not, or whether you like his films, I mean, that guy's the real deal. It happened so quickly, and it was such a misunderstanding, and it was just someone hadn't done something that I'd asked them to do, and he thought that I didn't ask him to do it, which was not true. We had this funny moment, though, because when we got into it, and he said, he was all mad. He goes, "You want to see Jimmy Caan? I'll show you Jimmy Caan." I said, "Bert, I want to see Jimmy Caan. I'd have cast Jimmy Caan." "Oh, yeah." But later he goes, "That was really funny." And when the occasions that he really brought something special. I thought, I loved, he directed Sharky's Machine, and we would sit and talk about it. But here's something I loved about Bert. And Michael Ironside's another guy that could do this too. I would love, but Bert loved to kind of do it, show off a little bit. He'd say, "Bobby, what lens are you on?" And I'd say 50 mil, and he would just look at the camera, and then he would show you exactly how you had it framed up with his hands. Like, he knew exactly where that lens was going to be, or how it was going to crop the frame. And it was just, and Michael Ironside would do the same thing, and I just love that. I love people that know their craft and actually care. At the time, Bert wanted to improvise and do some things, and I was really nervous about it. But probably by the third day or something, I started getting into it, watching him make it his own and really thinking about his decisions and choices. And at some points, I remember there was something, I can't remember the line, but he was trying to do something, and I said, "But I need you to stick it like this." And he looked at me in a second and he goes, "Oh, hell, I didn't. Okay." So yeah, we talked a lot. We talked a lot about, because we just loved him, as kids. I just loved him. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I started thinking about you, and I kind of got you sad for a little bit, because I was really upset when he passed. It was an incredible opportunity, quite honestly.
Are you happy?
Yes, son. It's what I've always wanted to do. Paint my dreams on a silver screen.
Thanks for listening to Halloween Treats, presented by the Lookback Machine. Stay tuned for the entire month of October for an episode every single day till November.
Frankenstein. King Tut's mommy was a friend of mine. Now I'm back in black, and I feel so good. Gonna do the hairy scary in your neighborhood. That's Mr. Frankenstein. Being dead for a living, such a waste of time. Need a lightning bolt, need a special spot, need a new set of eyeballs.